Another example that I wanted to walk through was related to design and 3D modeling. So we mentioned visualization. So we were working with a team in Florida. Very often approvals were taking 90 plus days. A lot of times we would look to the CRM of the customer and there would be no follow-up. So that was one thing that was missing. But also people would forget. So there would be a meeting with an account manager or an enhancement manager, and the HOA, the CDD, they might be sold at that time, but then in the delay in delivery, and then a month or two would pass and they've forgotten exactly what the proposal is. So it might have mostly been written, rates, plants, those sorts of things, just a standard estimate proposal, but without the visualization. And so by adding that with CAD, with SketchUp, with using rendering tools, you can create that visualization as a reference point. And then if it's a 2-day delay, if it's a 10-day delay, and people start to forget what something looked like, these visualizations help remind them, probably in a bigger way than the visualizations themselves, of what that conversation, what that walkthrough was previously. And so we saw really great results. Design time was cut by 50% by almost 5 days. There were significant cost savings by leveraging these BPO resources versus just in-house, where either they weren't doing it or it was much more expensive. And then the 3D visuals really improved the rate of approvals and the dollar wins of the contracts. And so you can see this sketch at left is not a bad sketch. It's actually a really nice sketch. But when you compare that to the CAD design, and these aren't necessarily plan drawings that someone's going to build off of, but they can be. This is mostly to give the client a professional level of overhead visual. So it makes their decision to say yes easier, and it makes the velocity of that decision quicker. These are 3D renderings. So you can see this home was rendered with some hardscape and softscape, some hedges, some additional plantings and color, so that there's a really strong visualization of, hey, if this is a $100,000 project, this is what it's going to look like. And I only have it as a static image, but with a 3D rendering, you can move it around and you can kind of do a property walk to see what it actually looks like. This is a powerful tool, especially for more expensive designs or designs where you have more than one decision maker, in the case of like an HOA board or a CDD, to show them what you're providing. So what are the key takeaways? Whatever tools you use, getting a 2D or 3D visualization really does speed up decision making on the customer side. There are really great tools to do 3D model integration, and in the right application, that can be very powerful. And then we really do see improved customer satisfaction because there's a visual understanding of what's going to be installed, and you eliminate some back and forth on maybe your final retainage type walkthrough, where people understand exactly what plants were going to be placed, how they were supposed to look. And then the install, obviously, you have field adjustments, but generally we'll match that versus an artificial imagination of what someone had when they were just looking at line items on a paper or numbers and text.